clashes between some Zongo youth and residents of Enya in the Ashanti region.
Also, Cabinet approves Right to Information Bill to be laid in Parliament before the end of this week.
In business, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, petitions special prosecutor over alleged sale of crude oil by bulk oil storage and transportation company to BB Energy.
And on the foreign front, this evening, Zimbabwe's president releases names of hundreds of companies and individuals who failed to return $827 million illegally stashed abroad despite an amnesty. Got the details of these stories for you, including news from the world of sports entertainment. As always, you're streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. You can also watch us on DSTV channel 279. On to our very first story this evening. One person is confirmed dead and over 48 others arrested following violent clashes between some Zongo youth and residents of Anya in the Ashanti region. A joint police-military team has been deployed to the area to maintain peace and avert reprisal attacks from the feuding groups. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Have been arrested by the Ashanti Regional Police in connection with a clash that resulted in some residents sustaining injuries. Several property have been destroyed as a result of the violent clash. Residents say there has been a long-standing rivalry between the two groups, but they cannot tell what could have triggered the latest clash Monday morning. One person has been confirmed dead after sustaining severe machete wounds. Another person is in a critical condition at the Ankase Methodist Hospital. A team of police and military personnel has been deployed to the area to ensure law and order. Commercial activities came to a halt during the attack. Most schools had to close at 12 noon for fear of being attacked. The police is yet to brief the media on the current development.
And on this issue, Nano Say Esibe Bonsu is the Metropolitan Chief Executive for Kwabri East. He's joined us on Skype. Nana, good evening, and thank you for agreeing to speak to us.
Good evening.
Right. So, what have your briefings gathered this evening about these clashes, the second in a month?
Similar thing happened about 1 month ago.
Yeah.
So we tried our best to resolve the issue. We brought together all the stakeholders at the Ghana and we were able to resolve the issue. So we're all thinking that everything was over. Till this morning, when we heard that it from the Zongo line went to the Ashanti line. Actually, we are yet to know what happened there. So there was a clash between these two people that resulted in the death of one person, as shown on our screen, and one casualty, serious one, who is on admission at the hospital. So we are yet to identify, or yet to know actually what happened between the two groups. So this one is different from the first one that happened almost 1 month ago.
So what is the state of security at the moment as we speak to you?
By the grace of God, we have the military and the police on the ground. They are monitoring the events. Everything is calm now, but we don't know what will happen tonight. So the police are on the red alert to make sure that the situation is brought under control.
Yeah, Nana, you are the MC of the area. Yeah, though investigations are still ongoing, but what have you picked up?
What I'm saying was that there was a confrontation between two groups, one from the Zongo line and another one from the Ashanti line. And that's where they met. You know, the two groups, the Ashanti, it's only one that a car and the lorry and the road is separating the two, the Ashantis and the Zongos. So they are very close neighbors. They've been together for a long time. So actually, we are yet to identify what brought about the whole crash. But something happened, that's what I was just saying, something happened about a month ago So we are yet to know what happened between the two groups which brought about this crash. And the police are doing the investigation to let us know actually what happened there.
Right, Nana, we are grateful for your time. As soon as you get something, I'm sure you will kind of give us an alert. Nana Osei Bonsu. Nana Osei Esibe Bonsu is the Metropolitan Chief Executive for Kwabre East in the Ashanti region.
Certainly, but let's turn to some other stories now. As the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, says Cabinet has approved the Right to Information Bill, which will be laid in Parliament before the end of this week. The bill, when passed, is expected to ensure transparency and reduce corruption in both the public and private sectors. Dr. Bawumia made the observation during an interaction with a Norwegian business delegation in Accra.
At the 61st independence celebrations, President Akufo-Addo stated his government's strong commitment to lay the Right to Information Bill in Parliament before it rises for the Easter break. Already, some Rights to Information campaigners have since then mounted pressure to get the bill laid before Parliament. The Cabinet has now approved the bill and it is expected to be laid before Parliament this week. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was confident the Right to Information Bill will ensure transparency and accountability.
Cabinet has given approval to the Right to Information Bill to be laid in Parliament for debate and approval, because it is very, very critical that we pass the Right to Information Bill. It is our hope that this will be an additional feather in our cap in the fight against corruption.
Other civil society groups are expecting Parliament to work on the bill before it rises for the Easter break.
Now, a ranking member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, NEWS360, tells TV3 he is doubtful the bill will be passed before the House rises on Friday.
I think that the President was not adequately informed of the calendar of Parliament, and that's why on 6th March he said that we will pass it in this sitting. We cannot pass it in this sitting. I have had discussions with the chairman, and we have agreed that when the bill is laid, we will take it through the same procedure that we took the Office of the Special Prosecutor Bill through. We'll do a stakeholder engagement for 2 days here in Parliament, and then probably move to Kofredua or Dodua or wherever, and do a 2-day consideration of the clause by clause. And so that by the time, if it is late before we rise, by the time we come back, the report will be ready. We are prepared to work during this break to ensure that the bill is ready.
Meanwhile, former Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Justice Emil Short, has expressed worry about the delay in passing the Right to Information Bill. He believes that the bill, when passed into law, will help in the fight against corruption.
In addition to all the other bills, the Freedom of Information Bill, I agree that it is critical, and I venture to suggest that it is because both the NPP and NPP as a nation appreciate the power of the Freedom of Information Bill. How people are going to use it to hold public officials accountable. That is why they are dragging their feet on it. This is my prognosis. I may be wrong. But why should it take 20 years to pass a Freedom of Information Bill? That is my only reason, I think.
And a group from the Right to Information Coalition has distributed flyers in Accra as part of his advocacy campaign for laying of the Right to Information Bill in Parliament. The coalition has asked government to fulfill the President's promise to lay the bill before the House before Parliament goes on recess.
At a news conference last week, the coalition asked government to fulfill the President's promise and lay the bill before Parliament before it goes on recess. The countdown is on, and the expected deadline set by the coalition for the bill to be laid before Parliament is Friday, March 23, the same day Parliament is expected to rise. It is still not certain if the bill will be laid in Parliament before the recess. This is the reason for which the group took to some streets of Accra and distributed leaflets to the public to inform them about the need for the bill to be passed.
RTI is for the citizens. It is not for politicians, it is not for government, it is to the benefit of citizens. So it is important that every Ghanaian understands what we are doing. We are sharing messages for them to understand and also join the campaign. And the hashtag we have for every Ghanaian to join this campaign is Pass the RTI Bill Now.
As at 6 a.m., members of the group were already stationed at various points like Kalkudi, 37 and East Legon. Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative and the Ghana Integrity Initiative are part of the many civil society groups that joined the campaign. The Right to Information Bill is expected to help citizens in specific information they may seek from government institutions in the fight against corruption.
So the Right to Information Coalition, they're pretty geared up, looking forward to it being passed into law. Now, the Right to Information Bill is one that has been debated and spoken about extensively, been in the offing for a pretty long time, 22 years now, and many feel like this shows the commitment or lack of it of the governments that have come through within the period on actually passing this bill, because it's going to hold public officials accountable. I'm going to run us by the Right to Information Bill and just the background of it for us to gain better clarity and understanding. Now, the RTI Bill is a fundamental human rights guaranteed by the 1992 Constitution and recognized as a right under international conventions on human rights for every Ghanaian, every citizen, to have the opportunity to have information to probe the work of public officials. Now, the bill reinforces Article 21, Section 1 of the Constitution, which states that all persons shall have the right to information subject to such qualifications and laws as are necessary in a democratic society. The key word being a democratic society, which therefore makes it imperative, in fact, for such a bill to be passed. Now, the timeline of the RTI bill, which is where the debate begins. 1996, the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA initiative and draft. That's making it 22 years. We're in 2018 now. In 2003, 2005 and 2007, government draft was put together. In 2010, this was taken to Parliament. 2 years on, 2012, the bill unfortunately lapsed and was relayed in 2016. You can see the period of time between it being lapsed and it being relayed in the year 2016 from 2012. 2017, the final days of the 6th Parliament and an effort by the then Majority Leader, Alban Backman, to have the legislation passed was unfortunately not successful following objection by the then minority NPP. So this is where we stand now, 2018, and as you saw there, the coalition is hoping that it's going to be passed. President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has spoken extensively about this and pledged within a period of time for it to be passed. And Isi, we're just going to see how it's going to pan out.
Thank you, Natalie. That's a long way, but let's see what Dr. Rashid Draman, who is Executive Director, African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ACEPA, has to say about the current state of the Right to Information Bill. Dr. Rashid, it's good to have you on our news program on TV3. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Right, Doctor, you must be really excited that the Vice President has revealed that indeed the bill has been laid before Parliament.
Well, I don't know whether the bill has really been laid before Parliament yet. I think maybe the distance between Cabinet and Parliament in this particular instance is quite a long distance, because our understanding and our checks in Parliament reveal that Parliament doesn't yet have the bill. And we have, I think, 4 more days to go before the Easter break.
So are you really, once we know Cabinet has approved, but we are waiting for it to be laid before Parliament, would you really expect it to be put before Parliament before the Easter break?
Yes, I guess so. I believe it will be laid before Parliament, but I think we are not going to get it passed. I don't think so, because even if it goes under the certificate of urgency, it will take some days. And if you look at the number of days that are left before they go on reset, it doesn't look possible. I understand the push by civil society organizations, and we shared, I mean, those concerns as well. Particularly, as you indicated, this bill is almost close to 2 decades and dragging. I know there are a number of issues that are of concern. If you listen to the speaker, with the speaker over the weekend at a program, and I think his concern relates to the fact that there are challenges in terms of the coverage of where information should be accessed. He thinks information should be accessed not only from public officials, but also from private and international organizations that do business with public officials. If you listen to the majority leader, I think my understanding is that there are concerns related to, how do you define what constitutes classified information, because it's not every information that can be given out. And then I think the other concern relates to the custody, where citizens can go and access information. Is there going to be a central point, or there is going to be scattered all over? I think that these are the issues. But you see, I think beyond all these things, research has revealed that, the RTI is not by itself a panacea to the fight against corruption. Because in some countries, like in India, I think research shows that the RTI actually increases corruption. Because, when your colleague was reading the provisions and the requirements for putting together the Right to Information law, I think she talked about subject to some conditions and qualifications and so on.
Yeah.
Sometimes officials are given too much discretion, to the extent that if you are not careful, you go to seek information as a journalist, as an ordinary citizen, and it takes you a very long time because it's at the discretion of the person who has to provide you the information. In England, for instance, I think information indicates that they have a lot of backlog because of this kind of clause in their right to information law. So what I'm saying is that yes, I think this is very important for the fight against corruption, but I think it is not an ordinary bill that can be rushed through Parliament. I think now we have the momentum. We should give Parliament enough time, hopefully maybe when Parliament reconvenes after the recess, so that a thorough job can be done and all of us can have an input into this bill, so that we can have a bill that, because we have waited already for quite too long.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rashid Draman, Executive Director, African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, for contributing to our news tonight.
Certainly, Issa, we'll stay on that issue, but on to some other stories this evening. MTN Vigil report gets results after Otema Kwache's report on an electricity pole on the verge of collapse has been replaced.
After the report here on TV3, I am proud to report that a new pole has been erected. We now feel safe here. We say thank you to TV3 and the Electricity Company of Ghana. Lives and properties have been saved. Reporting from Kwautafo, Otema Kwache.
We've gotten results there in such a short period of time. Excellent news.
So it helps everybody and makes everybody want to contribute.
Certainly,
to
it
the
does.
news.
It does. Remember, you can also send your MTN Vision reports via our WhatsApp number 055-1433-044 to get your story shared there. We have some more news for you on News 360 in a few moments. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Time now for some business news. And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says new national identification cards will be issued beginning May this year. These new cards, he says, will contain tax identification numbers to help government track companies which do not honor their tax obligations. Dr. Bawumia made the disclosure when he addressed a Norwegian business delegation currently in the country to set up a Norwegian fund called Norfund in Accra.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, was confident the new identification cards will promote a friendly business climate. He stated that it will also reduce the cost of doing business and help government to track those who do not pay taxes. These new cards, Dr. Bawumia said, will be issued in May this year.
A rollout of Ghana's national ID system next month, which means that we are going to provide unique identification to everybody in Ghana, whether you are a foreigner or you are a citizen. We will have unique ID numbers, and these will automatically transform into your tax identification numbers. So when you don't file your taxes, we know.
To improve on business environment, he again spoke about government's decision to roll out the interoperability policy in May this year. Under this policy, Ghanaians could send money through their mobile wallet account to their banks and vice versa.
We are providing this vehicle for financial inclusion, and it will help us also move towards a more cashless society. And this is not long to go. A lot of work has been done on it, and we hope to launch it in May this year.
The Vice President was happy. These initiatives should help the Norwegian business delegation to set the Norfund West African Secretariat in Ghana. Managers of the Norfund have earmarked more than $3 billion to assist growth of agribusiness. Part of the amount is to be invested in companies which are into producing and marketing of agri-products, while those into packaging will also be assisted. However, the managers say startup businesses will not be assisted. East West African CEO Nana Winful-Finn said Norfund is ready to help the growth of the private sector.
Having Norfund's investment can itself help the company to mobilize other pools of capital from other institutional investors and other kinds of investors as well.
Other speakers lauded the establishment of the fund, which will promote and expand Ghana's economy. The Norwegian delegation signed a memorandum of understanding with leaders of the existing Norwegian companies in Ghana.
In some other stories, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, has petitioned the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate circumstances leading to the alleged fraudulent sale of some 1.8 million barrels of crude oil by the bulk oil storage and transportation company BOST. The petition was sent after COPEC held a press conference this morning.
The Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, said BOST has caused financial loss to the state to the tune of 30 million Ghana cedis. The loss, according to COPEC, occurred when BOST sold 1.8 million litres of crude to a company, BB Energy, at a price lower than other companies were willing to pay. COPEC argues the sale of the product for less of its worth was carried out at a time when crude oil prices were rising on the international market.
On the circumstances surrounding the actual Donkomi sale of the 942,000 barrels to an unlicensed company leaves one wondering if those seeking to call our intelligence to question even understand the gravity of the fraud and illegality perpetuated on the government and the good people of this country, for which reason we are immediately after this press conference heading for the Office of the Special Prosecutor for prompt and immediate investigations to unravel the real relationships that exist between the individuals engaged in this transaction and what the overall motivation for such a poorly negotiated transaction could be.
Duncan Amoah said COPEC's investigation has showed that BOST faulted by undertaking sole sourcing, but due diligence was not done. An independent presidential candidate, Jacob Osei-Yeboah, also added his voice for calls to punish offenders of such deals.
We are not saying all what the COPEC is saying is the right thing, but they have a point. Let's ask ourselves, first and foremost, at the point in time when this crude oil, the discount was given, that was the time that the world market price has started soaring. Why should we, as a nation, give a discount on that? That amount could have helped build a lot of structures for the free SHS.
We'll bring you more on that subsequently. And Tullow Ghana Limited, an oil exploration and production company, has launched its Scholarship Alumni Association in Accra. Tullow Ghana hopes to use the association to promote Ghana's oil and gas sector by offering scholarships to association members to train and build up needed manpower and skills required for the sector.
The Tullow Group Scholarship Scheme, TGSS, was set up to build capacity in areas where Tullow's host countries experience significant skills gaps, but not exclusively around the oil and gas industries of these countries. The Tullow Group Scholarship Scheme alumni is a network of alumni from the Tullow Group Scholarship Scheme, which ran from 2011 to 2017. It is aligned with Tullow's aim of supporting long-term socio-economic development in countries where it operates. The scheme sponsored individuals from 10 different countries in sub-Saharan Africa and South America to study for vocational, technical and postgraduate courses. At the launch of the TGSS Alumni Group Ghana, the managing director of Tullow, Charles Daku, reiterated the company will continue to build the needed manpower and skills in the sector.
We are pleased to be able to also give them support through the association to make the knowledge they have acquired beneficial to the communities. Practically everyone has come back since then, and they're in various fields, and as you heard their own president say, some of them have gone beyond what they studied to being entrepreneurial, which is part of our credo as Tullow, and doing things for themselves and for the economy.
The Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, praised Tullow for its role of investing in Ghana's human resource development.
That some of you with the training are doing other things which are productive, and that will help you earn income but also help grow our country. And therefore, do not be discouraged. This is why I've always said that when you are trained in the oil and gas sector, you are trained for the world. And therefore, a first-class welder trained to work in the oil and gas industry is a first-class welder in any sector of the economy.
The acting president of TGSS Alumni Ghana, Taiwa Ajay, promised they will make an impact wherever its members find themselves.
To look at a team comprising of over 200 highly trained people from various, top universities in the UK, most of whom are back in Ghana and are doing very good in their various fields. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that if we come together as a team, aside what we are doing individually, we'll be able to do greater things than anybody can ever think of.
And that's how we round up the business news this evening on News360. Visit our website, it's 3news.com. We've got some more business stories on there. On to you, Isa.
Thank you, Natalie. And let's move on to some more stories. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo has assured the chiefs and people of the Dorimon traditional area in the Upper West region that government is committed to promoting development in the area. The president was addressing a delegation of chiefs and elders of the Dorimon traditional area at the Flagstaff House in Accra.
The visit by the chiefs and the elders of Dorimon traditional area in the Upper West region was to reciprocate the president's earlier visit to the area last year. It was also to discuss pertinent issues facing the communities surrounding the area.
You will recall that I made some demands in my short address at that ceremony. The major ones being the creation of a new district for Dorimon to take care of the development projects in that part of the region. Key among these include our poor road network.
President Akufo-Addo assured the people government will complete all developmental projects in the area.
I know that plans are afoot to extend the facilities there to other communities in the area so that all of them can be well served. I believe a pipeline is being constructed from Lambusi, which will enable drinking water to be piped into the communities around Tambusi. So I think very soon many of your water problems are going to be resolved. Good management once again has made it possible now for the road minister to have some money, and he's determined that within the next 10 days the contractor will be back on the road, having found some money for him to start.
He promised to ensure the creation of an additional district in the Wa municipality is given priority.
Let's turn to education now, as the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT, has asked government to pay outstanding salary arrears for its members within 11 days. The arrears, CCT members say, dates back from 2013 to 2016 and involves over 20,000 teachers who have only been paid for 3 months. The national president of the coalition, King Ali Awudu, gave the ultimatum at a news conference in Accra.
This is the third time leadership of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers has issued an ultimatum. In January 2017, it implored government to pay its outstanding salaries to 74,000 teachers nationwide. But the Minister of Finance pleaded and extended the payment date to June. However, payment was not fulfilled. In November of the same year, it began validating the names of those teachers involved for payment. Early this year, the Finance Ministry signed a Memorandum of Understanding to pay the teachers at the end of March this year. With 11 days to go to the end of the month, leadership of Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana is frightened the amount will not be paid. Its national president, King Ali Awudu, explained that his checks with the Comptroller and Accountant General's Department indicate March salaries have already been processed.
If the validation has been done and the audit service have issued the various certificates to the Ministry of Finance, then we see no reason why the Ministry of Finance is not giving Comptroller the green light for them to do the payment. And the song Comptroller is singing that they have problems with the PPD3 or PP2 issue. It is also not an issue that we union leaders have to solve. If they have a challenge with their software system moving from a PPD3 to a PPD2, for which they cannot even trace the information of the people to do the payment, that is their challenge. And they should do everything possible to solve it.
The coalition has therefore given government an 11-day ultimatum to pay the salary arrears or risk withdrawal of their services.
For this particular agreement that we signed for the payment to be made in March, signed by Honorable Abinose for on behalf of government, and Mr. David Ofori-Champo for on behalf of the teacher unions, we are not ready for any other extension. So if at the end of this month they don't fulfill this, then we cannot hold the wrap of the teachers any longer.
Meanwhile, our checks at the Finance Ministry indicate that government is committed to pay their arrears before the end of March.
You're on News 360 and there is more to come after the break.
Counsel wondered why the accused person did not show inability to write a statement himself but was done on his behalf. Lance Corporal Raymond Amegashi told the court in a previous sitting he was forced to sign a caution statement which did not come from him and which the court is yet to establish. Sitting continues on March 20.
We have international news coming up next.
Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa said on Monday it had resulted in $591 million being returned, less than half the funds believed to be held abroad. He has warned that those who fail to comply are at risk of prosecution. President Mnangagwa, who promised to crack down on corruption after being sworn into office last year, said he had been left with no choice but to release the 1,800 names, which include manufacturers, miners, small businesses, state-owned entities and even churches. The list of names is divided into 3 separate groups export earnings which were kept offshore, companies which owe money for imports which never arrived, and people and businesses which have allegedly put funds into foreign banks under spurious circumstances. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari says he will not attend the extraordinary African Union Summit on Free Trade in Rwanda this week. The meeting in Kigali is intended to formally launch the African Continental Free Trade Area Treaty, which would create a common market across the continent, much like the EU. Buhari was scheduled to leave Abuja on Monday ahead of Wednesday launch, but pulled out to allow for more consultations. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he is open to constructive dialogue with other states after being re-elected president of Russia with an increased majority. According to Putin, there will be no arms race, promising to cut defense spending. Putin officially won more than 76% of the vote in an election from which the main opposition leader was barred. Putin has ruled Russia as either president or prime minister since 1999. But his share of the vote in the last election 2012 was smaller at 64%. The UK and EU have agreed on a large part of the agreement that will lead to the orderly withdrawal of the UK. Brexit negotiators Michael Barney and David Davis said deal on what the UK calls the implementation period was a decisive step, but issues still to be resolved include the Northern Ireland border. The transitional period is set to last from March 29, 2019 to December 2020 and is intended to smooth the path to a future permanent relationship.
So another week has begun. It's a mellow Monday. Good evening. Welcome to the entertainment news and lifestyle segment with me, Nana Kwedrado, brought to you by Vodafone, Power to You, and FunMax, Fuel Your Day. Now, we kept talking about the 3 Music Awards, and the countdown for the maiden 3 Music Awards is on. The much anticipated event will take place this Saturday, March 24, at the Fantasy Dome at the Trade Fair Center here in Accra. Now, the gold-plated plaques have arrived ahead of the awards this Saturday. Usuarai has been following this.
Calling my rap calling, telling me that I'm falling. Spirits up in the morning, positive that I'm all in. Can't get under my skin, can't get sentimental, my friend. I was having fun a week ago, made this instrumental my 10. I don't raise.
Outstanding musicians, personalities and organizations will have a feel of the elegant-looking 3 Music Award plaques come March 24.
Talk, I don't buy it. We gon' crank it up, turn it up, and then light it.
The 3 music bars is on. One category to watch out for is the Fan Army of the Year. Reactions from the camps have been nothing but exciting.
It looks like a 2-horse race between the Shatta Movement family and the Beam Nation, but the Gadam Nation from Tamale are also putting in and making it count. I mean, we live to see exactly which of these fan armies is going to win and all of that, but there's a lot of back and forth between the Beam Nation and the Shatta Movement family.
But seriously, which is the most loyal and relevant fan army in Ghana now? That dispute will be settled once and for all come Saturday.
Whoever wins assets their positioning as the biggest and the most relevant fan armies in Ghana. This is the gold-plated 3 Music Awards gone. So if any of the fan armies wins, this is what they're going to take home to show for all their hard work within the year of supporting their talent and being the loyal fans that they've been.
And expect some mind-blowing performances from some of Ghana's finest showstoppers.
Adam, ALJ, so they are going to have the opening performance with their song Mighty Jesus. And then Mr. Boy is on it, Shatawale is on it, Kwesiata, who is a sensational artist that has come up, is on it. Kitty, Kwame Eugene, Kim Promise.
So everybody should make it a point to be at the Made in 3 Music Awards because they won't regret it.
Exactly. I mean, it's value for money, like we indicated. If you're looking for that refreshingly different music experience, then where you have to be on Saturday, 24th March, is a Fantasy Dome. Just go get your ticket at Kuala, Maxmat, Enda, Accra, Bachona Total, or the Airport Shell. Join us. Let's have fun.
Calling my rap calling, telling me that I'm falling.
Okay, so that's the 3 Music Awards coming up this Saturday at the Trade Fair Center, Fantasy Dome, all new Fantasy Dome. Of course, you have to make it a point to be there. Great spectacle to behold on the night.
This is very exciting. And the categories are quite unique as compared to some other
Yes, we have the Fun Army of the Year, which
that's
is
new.
Quite new. I mean, it's an exciting category. We went out there, spoke to some of the fan bases as well. But as the day goes by, we'll be dropping some more stories on that as well.
You will be there.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to.
I will be there to pick my winners.
All right. So over the weekend, Ebony's Cloth was also launched by her dad. Of course, he wasn't too happy announcing a cloth to be sold for the demise of her daughter. But all the same, as part of the funeral activity coming up this weekend, they launched the cloth Asida and Mamishe.
Launching funeral cloth of my daughter, Dr. Ebony. Oh, how sad it is, and how are we feeling now? It's very unfortunate if you ask me. But I guess we have no option to launch this cloth.
The GTP produced cloths Mamishe and Asida are the official garment for Ebony's funeral.
Can we give him applause, please?
Mamishe, named after the singer's song title, comes with 2 different colors and is to be used for her funeral and all other occasions. Like the concept of the 2017 hit song, the cloth comes with the symbol of an eye, symbolizing a life well lived. On the other hand, Asida, meaning thanksgiving, symbolizes unity and togetherness. The cloth is suitable for occasions like outdooring, parties, church and Thanksgiving services. Distributors of the cloth, friends cautioned fans to look out for the GTP seal to avoid purchasing fake brands.
Authenticity, we need it. It should be authentic. The seal should be there when you are buying to get the original. It is in to stay, so to speak. And we recommend that for every occasion, so that Ebony shall forever remain. She got to live on. It is your support that will make this dream come true.
The funeral for the late dancehall diva Ebony Rains will take place at the forecourt of the State House on Saturday, March 24, 2018.
All right, so that was the story on Ebony, and her new cloth, sold for the funeral coming up this Saturday. But just there, Owusu caught up with Bullet, Ricky, and of course he was also talking about what was happening on social media with Shatta Wale and all of that. Let's see that.
People were saying it's Shatta Wale. I went on radio, I said it's not Shatta Wale. So if Shatta Wale should come on there to insult me, who am I? Shatta Wale has been insulting pastors, insulting big people, somebody who said he wants to ban churches. Who am I? If Shatta Wale insults me, who am I? Bullet, I'm nobody. So if he insults me, I'm cool. But I know I've not wronged him. I rather defended him. So let's forget about Shatta Wale. Let's talk about everybody. Let's give a befitting funeral.
Basically, you've been able to resolve all the issues with them.
Everything is on course. Sakode is coming. Samina is coming. Stoneboy is coming.
So that was Ebony's tribute concert that Bullet was talking about coming up this Friday as well. So it looks like a very packed weekend for the industry this Friday as we have nominees, Cham. But final story for this evening, US-based Ghanaian filmmaker Leila Ifua Jansi has urged young ladies not to cook for men they are not married to. Interesting. Leila's comment further stressed, I quote, "Women are also human beings and need a partner and not a master," unquote. So that's about it. Leila putting out some beautiful comments there. What do you think of that, Abu?
This discussion will never end. I think it depends on the relationship, and you would know whether it's good for him. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So that's about it for entertainment news. My name is Nana Kwedrado, brought to you by Vodafone, Power to You, and FanMax. Fuel your day.
Yes, it is, and that's how we round up News 360 this evening. Thanks so much for watching. We've got more news on our website. It's 3news.com, and news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station. That's 3FM 92.7. I'm Natalie Fort.
I'm Mr. Money. Enjoy your evening.